At his desk, a man tries to work but is haunted by a strange memory from the night before. His fingers pause over the keyboard as he struggles to make sense of the bizarre event. He recalls being startled in his apartment by a mysterious glowing screen that appeared out of thin air. The screen presented itself as a shop window, leaving him utterly bewildered and questioning his sanity. He found himself unable to purchase anything, realizing his coin balance was a big, fat zero. An ominous weapon for dealing with the undead was also for sale, reminding him of his favorite apocalypse stories. The thought of a real-life monster outbreak flashed through his mind, a truly chilling possibility. He shakes it off with a wry smile, blaming his overactive imagination on sheer exhaustion from work. Just as he dismisses the fantasy, his boss barrels towards him, breaking the office tranquility. The furious manager gets right in his face, accusing him of daydreaming on the job yet again. The manager slams his hand on the desk, demanding an explanation for a supposed work error. The man calmly refutes the accusation, knowing his boss is just projecting his own failures. His boss leans in, enraged by the calm and logical response. Towering over his desk, the manager explodes with fury, refusing to be contradicted. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the tension, stopping the manager in his tracks. A kind female colleague intervenes, offering the fuming boss a drink to cool him down. The manager's rage instantly melts away, replaced by a foolish, love-struck grin. He quickly changes his tune for her, eagerly accepting her peace offering and taking her hand. His attention turns completely inappropriate as he invites the uncomfortable woman to dinner. Leaning in uncomfortably close, he tries to pressure her into accepting his offer. The woman skillfully dodges the unwanted advance, politely claiming she's busy. Defeated, the manager backs down but promises to ask again, letting her escape his grasp. As soon as he's gone, her polite mask drops, revealing her true annoyance with the situation. The man offers her a silent, grateful nod for swooping in and saving the day. Overwhelmed by the office drama, he gazes at the sky, wishing he could just go home. He vents his frustration on the rooftop, knowing the manager would still be yelling if not for her intervention. Taking a drag from his cigarette, he resigns himself to enduring the job, knowing quitting isn't an option. He resolves to show his gratitude, planning to buy his helpful colleague a coffee later. Suddenly, the very colleague he was thinking of appears, cheerfully grabbing his arm to get his attention. He turns in surprise, questioning why she'd come to the smoking area on the rooftop. She admits she also came up to the roof to get away from their obnoxious manager. The woman vents her frustration about the manager's inappropriate behavior and constant pestering. Shivering, she complains about the sudden chill, but he thinks it's just a cool summer day. She grabs his arm to prove her point, showing him the goosebumps rising on her skin from the cold. He playfully dismisses her concerns, so she pulls out her phone to show him some startling proof. She presents a viral social media post showing an unbelievable sight, snow falling in Africa. He stares at the image in stunned silence, the bizarre news sending a chill down his spine. Just as they process the strange weather, both of their phones buzz with an emergency alert. They read the notification in disbelief, a cold wave advisory issued in the peak of summer. The official alert confirms a rapid temperature drop, warning everyone to prepare for the sudden and extreme cold. They stare at the alert, struggling to believe a cold wave warning in June could be real. He tries to make sense of it all while his colleague shivers, clearly feeling the sudden drop in temperature. Looking up, their disbelief turns to shock as snowflakes begin to drift down from the summer sky. The city is suddenly covered in a layer of white, an impossible blizzard raging in the middle of June. Back inside, he sips a warm drink, concluding that the world has officially lost its mind. Deciding to call it a day, he plans to head home before the inevitable traffic jam caused by the snow. He finds the elevator unresponsive, wondering if the strange weather has caused a power failure. A wave of intense cold hits him, forcing him to wrap his arms around himself for warmth. Giving up on the elevator, he heads for the stairs, his thoughts returning to the mysterious shop window. He hurries down the stairwell, the combination of the freezing air and strange events leaving him deeply unnerved. He cautiously peeks out from the stairwell just in time to see the elevator doors sliding shut. To his surprise, the elevator doors open again, making him question if it was ever broken at all. The doors continue to open and close erratically, yet the hallway remains unnervingly silent. Suddenly, the lights go out, plunging the floor into darkness and sending a jolt of fear through him. Deciding to abandon his belongings, he grabs the stairwell door, determined to get out immediately. He freezes upon hearing an unsettling sound like metal scraping against a hard surface. Overcome with a sense of dread, he decides he must grab his things and escape the creepy building. Entering the pitch-black office, he finds it completely empty, wondering where all his colleagues disappeared to. He approaches a desk in disarray, noticing scattered papers that suggest a hasty departure. The chaotic scene makes him think everyone fled in a panic, and a deep sense of unease settles over him. Realizing the danger, he grabs his backpack, knowing he needs to get out of there fast. A terrifying shadow of a shambling figure suddenly looms on the wall, freezing him in place. He whirls around, his eyes darting towards the meeting room where the ominous shadow originated. A gut feeling tells him something is terribly wrong as he cautiously moves toward the room. His foot lands on something unexpected, an ID card lying on the floor next to a suspicious stain. He picks up the card, his blood running cold as he sees it's his colleagues, splattered with blood. A sudden, violent crash from inside the room throws him off balance, his mind racing with fear. Steeling his nerves, he peers through the blinds, bracing himself for what he might find. His worst fears are realized as he witnesses a grotesque creature hunched over a fallen colleague. The man recoils in sheer terror, unable to comprehend the horrific scene unfolding before his eyes. The creature senses a new presence, its bloodied mouth hanging open in question. It looks up, its glowing eyes locking onto him through the blinds, confirming his worst fears. He immediately turns and runs for his life, pure instinct taking over. In his panic, he trips and crashes to the floor, leaving him completely vulnerable. A monstrous hand reaches for him, and the horrifying reality of a zombie apocalypse sinks in. He narrowly dodges the creature's lunge, rolling away just as it pounces. Overwhelmed with terror, he struggles to comprehend the nightmare unfolding around him. Desperately scrambling backward, his eyes dart around the dark office for anything to use as a weapon. Spotting an office chair, he grabs it and lifts it high, preparing for a desperate counterattack. With a surge of adrenaline, he swings the chair with all his might, striking the creature head-on. His desperate attack sends the monster reeling backward with incredible force. Wasting no time, he turns and bolts, not daring to look back at the aftermath. But the creature is far from finished, letting out a furious roar as it gives chase. He frantically shoves against a door, desperate to find an escape route from the relentless monster. A powerful impact from the other side rattles the door, confirming he's trapped. Leaning against the wall, he catches his breath, his face a mask of pure terror. A low growl from just around the corner confirms his horrifying pursuer is still close. He presses himself against the wall, holding his breath as the shambling monster passes his hiding spot. Once the coast is clear, he collapses to the floor, the adrenaline finally wearing off. As the terrifying reality sinks in, a sudden vibration from his pocket snaps him back to attention. He pulls out his phone to find another emergency alert, this time about a rapidly spreading infection. The official story is a rabies variant, but he clutches his head in disbelief, knowing it's a lie. A horrifying flashback confirms his suspicion. That was no rabid animal, it was a zombie. Desperate for answers, he scrolls through his phone, trying to make sense of the unfolding apocalypse. He finds an online forum flooded with panicked posts about zombies and strange occurrences across the country. A chilling thought strikes him. Could this global chaos be linked to the mysterious shop window? He quickly searches for information online but finds absolutely nothing, dismissing the connection. Just as he's about to look for more information, his phone screen suddenly goes blank. A stark message appears on the screen, informing him that the connection has been lost. Utterly cut off from the world, he stares at his useless device, realizing he's truly on his own. He clutches his head, the full weight of his hopeless situation crashing down on him. The biting cold becomes his immediate concern, his teeth chattering uncontrollably. Huddled on the stairs, he worries the freezing temperatures might get him before the zombies do. Shaking off his despair, he resolves to find a safe place and wait for a rescue that may never come. He checks his phone's battery, calculating that its precious light could last him 2 days if he's careful. With a newfound sense of purpose, he steels himself for the dangers ahead. Using his phone as a flashlight, he cautiously begins to descend the darkened stairwell. He enters another empty office, hoping to scavenge for vital supplies like food or warmer clothes. Spotting a desk, he decides to check the drawers for anything that could help him survive. He pulls open a drawer and finds a clean shirt, a small but welcome discovery in the chaos. He quickly changes into the fresh shirt, feeling a small sense of relief. With renewed purpose, he continues his frantic search, now desperately looking for food. His face breaks into a wide, joyful grin as he discovers a fully stocked bag. Inside, he finds a jackpot of supplies, food, water, and a much-needed blanket. He slings the bag over his shoulder, silently thanking whoever left this lifeline behind. With his basic needs met, his focus shifts to finding something to use as a weapon. His eyes land on a promising object tucked away in a dark corner of the office. He discovers a set of golf clubs ironically provided by his insufferable manager. Wrapped in the blanket for warmth, he questions if his newfound supplies can last 3 days. He gazes out the frosted window, doubting a rescue team could even reach him in this blizzard. He imagines the apocalyptic chaos outside, with roads completely overrun by hordes of the undead. The raging blizzard only makes things worse, making a helicopter rescue nearly impossible. A chilling thought crosses his mind. What if the rescue team never makes it through the storm? As the temperature continues to plummet, the biting cold becomes an even more immediate threat. Suddenly, the mysterious shop window reappears, taunting him with the perfect solution: warm winter clothes. But the solution is just out of reach, leaving him to wonder how on earth he's supposed to earn coins. Defeated, he huddles by the window, watching the endless snowfall and feeling his hope dwindle. Just as he's about to succumb to exhaustion on the stairs, a sudden noise from below snaps him to attention. He peers down into the darkness, his eyes locking onto an ominous glow from the floor below. Realizing he's no longer alone, he quickly sheds his blanket, preparing to face whatever is coming. He grips the golf club tightly, swinging it with fierce determination at the approaching figure. The figure scrambles away in a panic, trying to escape the imminent blow. With a furious expression, he raises the club high, ready to bring it down on his target. A terrified voice cries out, and he sees a man shielding his face, pleading for his life. He freezes mid-swing, recognizing the cowering man as another one of his colleagues. Lowering his weapon, he recalls hearing about this particular coworker and isn't exactly thrilled to meet him. Now sitting together on the stairs, the new survivor explains he'd been hiding from the chaos in the break room. The colleague proudly recounts how he locked himself in for safety, then curiously asks how our hero managed to get out. He bluntly describes pushing past a zombie to reach the exit, internally dismissing the other man's cowardly tale. The colleague, seemingly ignoring the grim reality, awkwardly tries to start a new conversation. The colleague abruptly asks for food, complaining about his overwhelming hunger. Our hero gets up to leave, flatly denying he has any rations to share. He offers to get some water instead, using it as an excuse to get away. Just as he turns, the colleague suddenly grabs his arm with a desperate grip. The man's face contorts with a disturbing intensity as he presses the issue of food again. A wave of suspicion washes over our hero as he realizes something is deeply wrong. While filling his water bottle, he can't shake the unsettling feeling about his new companion. He recalls the colleague sweating profusely, a strange detail given the freezing temperature. His paranoia is confirmed as he sees a monstrous reflection of the colleague lunging at him from behind. Before he can react, the newly turned creature attacks, catching him completely by surprise. Thinking fast, he shoves the water bottle into the creature's face to block its attack. He follows up with a powerful swing of his golf club, sending the monster reeling. The force of the blow sends his former colleague flying down the hallway. He stares in horror at the transformed man, unable to believe he was fine just moments ago. As the creature tries to rise, he brings the club down with grim determination to end the threat. The stained golf club lies on the ground, a grim testament to his first kill in this new world. He struggles to catch his breath, the reality of his actions crashing down on him. A sudden notification pops up, informing him that he has just earned 1 coin. He instantly recognizes the interface, connecting it to the mysterious shop he saw earlier. The horrifying realization dawns on him. The only way to earn coins is by taking out the undead. He looks at the grim scene, feeling cheated that his life or death struggle was only worth 1 coin. He spots a telltale bite mark on the colleague's wrist, finally understanding how he turned so quickly. Sinking to his knees, he sighs with grim understanding about the nature of the infection. Now safely in a chair, he takes a drag from a cigarette, realizing trust is a luxury he can't afford. He eyes the pack of cigarettes he scavenged, finding a small moment of solace amidst the apocalypse. A sudden, horrifying scream from outside jolts him back to reality, reminding him of the constant danger. Clutching his blanket for warmth, he moves to the window to witness the chaos unfolding outside. His gaze falls upon a lone survivor in the snow, desperately swinging a bat against a growing mob of zombies. But the survivor's luck runs out as the horde swarms him, pulling him down into a sea of monsters. In a horrifyingly short time, the man rises as a zombie, another victim of the apocalypse. He turns from the window, shaken by the grim fate of the survivor outside. Powerless to help, he grips a chair in frustration, cursing his dire situation. 3 days later, with his phone nearly dead and rations dwindling, he realizes watching is no longer an option. He recalls every failed escape attempt he's witnessed, each one ending with another person joining the undead. Concluding that inaction is a death sentence, he shoulders his pack, ready to face the dangers ahead. He lifts a heavy table, his new mission clear: find other survivors in the building. Armed and supplied, he sets his first objective, deciding to make his way to the 6th floor. He cautiously approaches an exit, intending to verify if the path is truly blocked as he was told. Peeking through the door, he's stunned by a bright light from the other side. Stepping out, he realizes the presence of light means there might be other people nearby. He rushes through the office in disbelief, chasing the source of the unexpected light. Pressing against the glass, his hope turns to shock as he sees the truth of the situation. His optimism fades as he realizes it's still pitch black outside, the light only coming from inside. He clenches his fist, deducing that someone must have bravely switched on the emergency generator. Gripping his weapon, he realizes this confirms his theory: he is not the only survivor. Knowing the power is temporary, he peeks out of the stairwell, ready to move fast. He stands resolute, determined to find the others before the building is plunged into darkness again. Pausing to strategize, he concludes the other survivor must be on the 1st floor. Realizing his dress shoes are far too loud, he quietly removes them to maintain stealth. Now moving silently, he continues his descent, confident that being quiet is better than being zombie bait. He arrives on the 6th floor, ready to investigate the rest of the building. Before proceeding, he cautiously peeks around the corner to scout the area ahead. He discovers the main entrance to the office has been completely barricaded from the inside. A smile spreads across his face, realizing this is definitive proof of other survivors. He reasons that while the building is secure, the lobby is likely swarming with the undead. Taking a deep breath, he grips a doorknob, preparing to face what's on the other side. He peers through the crack, desperately hoping the path ahead is clear of monsters. His hope shatters as he takes in the gruesome, blood-splattered scene in the lobby. From his hiding spot, he spots a lone, shambling creature, confirming his fears. The full view reveals a terrifying horde of his former colleagues now roaming the lobby as zombies. He quickly pulls back from the door, confirming that a direct escape is currently impossible. He realizes the main glass doors are under immense pressure from a massive horde outside. Knowing time is running out, he sprints away from the lobby to find another path. His search leads him to the management office, a potential place to find supplies or answers. Inside, he makes a grim discovery: a familiar face from the office, frozen solid. He deduces the man died from hypothermia, recalling the strange final stages of freezing to death. Out of respect for his fallen colleague, he gently closes the man's eyes for the last time. He offers a brief, silent prayer for the man's soul before continuing his mission. Pushing aside his grief, he hurries onward in his socks, his sense of urgency renewed. He arrives at the security office, convinced this is the final and most likely place to find another survivor. He grips his golf club, realizing he needs to announce his presence carefully to avoid being mistaken for a zombie. He recalls the grotesque, shambling creatures that now roam the halls, a constant reminder of the threat. The memory of the horde confirms that any loud noise could be a fatal mistake. Remembering their keen hearing, he gives a gentle knock, hoping to signal a friendly approach. Taking a deep breath, he cautiously pushes the door open, preparing for any outcome. A weapon suddenly lunges at him from the darkness, catching him completely off guard. He barely blocks the attack from another survivor, who clearly mistook him for one of the undead. The loud clang of their weapons clashing echoes through the silent hallway, a sound he instantly regrets. The other survivor's face is a mix of fear and aggression, ready to defend his sanctuary at all costs. Their noisy confrontation immediately attracts the attention of a nearby zombie, drawn by the sound of their fight. The other survivor peeks out from the security room, his face etched with fear, realizing their mistake. Our hero whips his head around, knowing the sound has just painted a target on their backs. He shoves the other man aside just as a zombie lunges, narrowly avoiding an attack. The two survivors now stand in a tense standoff, weapons poised for the next move. They cautiously confirm that they are both human, a moment of relief in the chaos. The newcomer explains he was also drawn by the generator, hoping to find other people alive. Our hero introduces himself with his ID card, but his mind races with the possibility that this man could be infected. The other man returns the introduction, while our hero eyes him, wondering if a wound is hidden under his blanket. He notices the man isn't sweating but shivering, a key difference from the last person who turned. Deciding to trust him for now, he lowers his weapon, forming a fragile alliance in the quiet office. He notices the newcomer eyeing his backpack, wondering if the man has already found supplies. The other survivor clutches a makeshift wooden spear, clearly ready for a fight. He reasons that the man's lack of ravenous hunger is a good sign he's not infected. His attempt to start a conversation is met with a defensive flinch from the wary survivor. Realizing he's only increased the tension, he scrambles for a way to lighten the mood. He tightens his grip on his own blood-stained weapon, a silent reminder of the dangers they face. The other man watches him with suspicion, his posture still guarded and untrusting. He raises his hands in a gesture of peace, trying to build rapport by mentioning their shared workplace. An idea strikes him. Offering a cigarette might be the perfect way to break the ice. The newcomer seems to consider the offer, slightly lowering his weapon as the tension begins to ease. He pulls out a fresh pack of cigarettes, his ultimate tool for diplomacy. With a disarming smile, he extends the pack, hoping to broker a truce. The other survivor stares at the offering, his face a mask of cold calculation. His knuckles turn white as he grips his weapon, still unwilling to lower his guard. The man with the spear glances away, weighing the risk of accepting this simple gesture. Finally relenting, he agrees to take one, signaling a fragile start to their alliance. The newcomer exhales a cloud of smoke, a wave of relief washing over his tense features. Our hero sympathizes with the feeling, but a loud growl from his own stomach breaks the moment. He awkwardly admits his own hunger, then reaches into his bag to share some of his rations. Watching him, our hero correctly guesses that the newcomer's supplies must have come from the break room. The newcomer offers a snack with a word of caution, which our hero gratefully accepts. He immediately starts eating, his hunger evident as he takes his first bite. The newcomer notes the freezing temperatures are a small blessing, keeping their food from spoiling. A rare moment of shared laughter breaks the tension, finding a sliver of humor in their grim reality. The mood shifts back to serious as our hero asks about the second floor, receiving a grim, one-word response. The newcomer begins his story, explaining he was initially trapped in the break room with another colleague. He recounts their disagreement, with him wanting to wait for rescue while his companion insisted on leaving. Clutching his head, he recalls the horrifying moment his impatient colleague left and was immediately infected. Our hero listens intently, as the man confirms there are at least 4 of the undead roaming that floor. The newcomer explains he was only forced out when his phone died, flashing back to a zombie waiting just outside his hiding spot. He finishes his story, explaining he created a diversion to crawl past the undead. Our hero praises his courage for escaping 4 zombies, which the newcomer humbly accepts. Connecting the dots, he asks if the newcomer was the one who activated the emergency generator. The man confirms he did, explaining he desperately needed to charge his devices. Wrapped in his blanket, the newcomer questions if our hero has been surviving without any information. He's shocked by the suggestion, asking if he's really been cut off from the internet this whole time. The newcomer reveals a game-changing fact: satellite internet is still working. Our hero is left speechless as the man mentions a familiar satellite internet provider. The newcomer clarifies that while most of the web is gone, a few online communities are still active. Seeing his surprise, the man kindly offers to charge our hero's phone with his fast charger. He scrolls through a survivor forum, stunned to see desperate messages from others braving the cold. He sincerely thanks the other man for the charge and the crucial information, a lifeline in the chaos. As they sit in the dimly lit security office, the overhead lights begin to flicker ominously. Both men look up as the lights sputter, signaling their temporary power source is failing. The newcomer grimly confirms that the emergency generator is about to run out of juice. He then turns the conversation, asking our hero about his next move. The man declares his own intention to stay put, making it clear this is his safe house. Our hero immediately understands the unspoken message. He's being told to leave. He realizes the other survivor sees him as a liability who would only drain precious food supplies. He silently agrees, knowing their conflicting survival strategies mean they're better off apart. He announces his departure, explaining that their different survival styles make them incompatible. The other survivor accepts his decision with a knowing, almost relieved smile. As a gesture of goodwill, the man reaches into his own bag to offer a parting gift. He presents a flashlight and a power bank, 2 invaluable tools for the journey ahead. Our hero gratefully accepts the supplies, acknowledging how crucial they are for survival. Not to be outdone, he offers a lighter in return, a fair trade in this new world. The other man takes the lighter, a silent acknowledgement of their brief but helpful alliance. With their business concluded, our hero turns to leave, ready to face the apocalypse alone again. The other survivor wishes him well, a rare moment of camaraderie in the grim darkness. Looking back with a determined grin, our hero hopes their paths will cross again under better circumstances. Knowing the lights will soon die, he realizes he needs to move fast before he's trapped in the dark with the horde. He glances back at the undead mob, thankful the reinforced glass doors are still holding them at bay. His mind races, calculating the sheer number of threats he'd have to face just to get outside. He turns towards the stairwell, a new plan already forming in his mind. An idea strikes him. His company car is in the basement, a potential ticket out of this nightmare. But he hesitates, questioning if a blind escape attempt is a brilliant plan or a suicide mission. Deciding against a rash escape, he heads back upstairs to gather more intel first. With renewed purpose, he climbs the stairs, determined to make a more calculated move. Just then, the emergency power cuts out, but he remains calm, remembering the flashlight he was given. He switches on the flashlight, its beam cutting through the oppressive darkness of the stairwell. He moves slowly up the stairs, knowing the undead could be anywhere. His eyes scan the floors above as he makes his way toward the 6th floor. A sudden noise from above makes him freeze, his flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. He immediately deduces there's someone on the upper floor, most likely one of the undead. With no other option, he tightens his grip on his weapon, steeling himself for a confrontation. He turns with grim determination, ready to break through whatever stands in his way.